closer.
Alert.
I'm going to move this a little bit closer because I tend to sit closer and sound better than you.
That sounds great.
We probably should have put a thing up there. I didn't. I pressed record before I realized I finished my aunt's analog.
You didn't, though. There's still a piece there.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's still there. Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Let's say we met at a bar.
Yeah.
And then...
I believe we kind of started did, but continue.
Did we? No. Wait, where did we meet at a bar? First time I ever talked to you was at Mac Hall at the university.
All right.
What bar incident are you talking about?
I'm not talking about an incident. I'm just saying that the stories you tell about me to paint me in a poor picture are at a bar.
Like when? No.
Yeah. Like I was rude to you when you came up and you were upset?
Yeah, that was, well, with your fly down was at Elise's house.
Sure was.
Party.
Just cool in the basement.
You were rude to me in Mac Hall the first time I ever came up to talk to you and be like, oh my gosh, we have the same birthday. And you just looked at me and turned your body and didn't even acknowledge my existence.
Did I have headphones in?
No.
You have no idea. Because you don't know if I have headphones in now.
You did not.
This isn't the conversation I thought we were going to have.
Well, hey, man.
I'll tell you right now, if we met in a bar right now, I'd probably act the same way. I'd probably like, I'm getting bad vibes for this chick. I'm going to turn around.
The only bar incident that I can remember is when we were dating and I left you.
Yeah.
Went home because you were being... No, actually, there was one bar before we were dating.
Why is this continuing? Like, why is this story?
This is a good one. This is a good one where I got punched in the face.
This isn't a good one.
But
somebody
else. I got punched in the face so much, man. It was usually other women.
Details. This makes me sound real bad.
Not you. I'm just saying, for some reason, I would piss other girls off and their boyfriends would come and hit me in the face.
You were hot and you had no social awareness back then.
Why? I was having a good time.
There it is.
What?
Social awareness.
Social awareness what?
It's threatening to other girls.
Well,
especially girls that weren't as good looking as you.
Well, anyway, but one of the times we're at the Fox and Firkin on Electric Avenue. And we were not friends, had hardly talked at all. Well, never talked. But you were standing there in that big Cookie Monster, bluey green.
Yeah, my old blue pullover.
Fuzzy. It wasn't a pull-up over. No, it was a button-up.
Oh, it was a button-up.
It was a button-up.
You know that was a snowboarding jacket?
What?
Yeah.
That would get drenched.
Yeah, it was yeah. No, but it was a snowboarding jacket.
I don't believe you.
Oh, well, I'm not here to
It's like a fuzzy pajama.
I wore it for a long time.
Did you wear it snowboarding?
No, I didn't snowboard.
Well, anyway, you were wearing that. And I ran right to you. My nose was gushing blood.
I don't even have a recollection of this.
I buried my face.
Like, you've told this story so many times.
You went out after the guy. You and Greg and them went after the guy. You always told me that you went out after them. After him.
Well, we must have then. I just don't remember it anymore.
See, I don't think you ever would have because you would have never talked to me. Anyways, back to the question.
This is off to a roaring start, by the way. What's your question?
Well, now we've just used up so much time.
It's fine. Get to it.
Okay, the question is, if we met at a bar and then you called me the next day and then we met up.
Okay.
And started hanging out. Mm-hmm. And now subsequently we've hung out for like 6 weeks, fairly consistently for 6 weeks. Would you consider us dating, like boyfriend, girlfriend, or would you have to specifically spell it out? Like, are you my girlfriend? Or would you just consider me your girlfriend?
Dude, I don't even know if we're technically married. Like, I don't know how to describe us. You're asking me like questions outside of my depth. Like, we got kids and mortgages together, but I don't know what are we in? Yeah, I'd say at some point, if you're hanging with someone regularly, there's no need to state it. You just kind of are.
Like to your friends, would you be like, "Oh, I'm meeting up with my girlfriend later"?
No, why do you got to put labels on anything?
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking. But why do you have to make it explicit? I would just assume you're my boyfriend. I don't need a label. I'm just saying today's youth are weird
Yeah.
and have all these rules. I'm like, is it back at the 50s? You have to ask about going steady? Because that's essentially our daughter required an explicit statement to say that they were going steady. And now it
Is,
just happened, and now they're officially girlfriend,
is it
boyfriend.
notarized? Like, is it official official?
It's official, official. Probably not with a stamp. We should probably go.
Yeah, I was just gonna
We
say
have a
we
guest
do
who's
have a
in the
guest here.
waiting room at this moment. So I should probably introduce nothing. I was going to talk about actually online screen stuff because that's probably what we're going to talk about today.
So today's guest is Mashood Ahmed, and he's the founder and CEO of GigabitIQ. So GigabitIQ is a broadband innovator in based out of the UK that's dedicated to creating a safer digital home for children and families. So he's the father of five. So he understands both from a business perspective and from a family perspective, real and growing challenges that parents are facing in navigating big tech, social media, hidden online harms. He's a recognized champion for online safety within the UK broadband sector and works closely with policymakers to push for stronger national protections. One of the things he'll talk about today is something that they've created called Parent Line, which is an AI powered guidance tool that helps parents understand and manage online risks with clarity and confidence. And so, yeah, we're excited to have him on the show and see what he has to say. Rashid, thanks for joining us today.
No, no problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Maybe we'll start off by getting you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, perfect. So my name is Mashood Ahmed. I'm the founder and CEO of GigabitIQ. We are the UK's safest broadband internet service provider. So essentially, we're like the Volvo of broadband industry, providing the fastest speeds, the best service, the greatest internet services that you can get from any service provider. But also, as a father of five, I'm keen to provide the safest online experience so that children of parents who take our services are safe online.
And that's really one thing I was interested because we do talk a lot about screens, but we don't talk a lot about some of the risks and especially online. I mean, we talk a little bit about it, but maybe we could start there, just some of those big risks that parents might see, but maybe things that aren't so obvious.
Yeah, so I think the challenges in today's parenting is the not so obvious. So I think parents sometimes believe that their children are safe because they're at home. They're not interacting out inside in a park or they're not outside with strangers or anybody else. But the problem is that inside the home, when children are on devices, if parents are unaware of the interactions that children have, the most dangerous place for a child is typically in their bedroom, talking, texting, being peer pressured, cyberbullying, having online chats with people they don't know. And those people are effectively strangers that could be anybody online, even if they present themselves as a 10-year-old child or a 14-year-old boy or a 16-year-old girl. It could be somebody else at a much older age lurking behind. And so I think that the biggest challenge that parents have nowadays about the online safety of their kids is not knowing. And so that's strangers don't knock on doors or ask children in the street nowadays. Nowadays, strangers are lurking in front of screens, talking and engaging with children on screens all around the world. And that's the biggest challenge that parents have.
And that's one thing I talk about in all my workshops because I talk a lot about we need our kids going out into the community, and there's all this fear about the things that are going to happen in the world. But I'm like, there's no crimes on children out in the real world anymore. It's online. All the crimes on children, it's still happening, but it's all online. So
Yeah. So, what is it that a parent can do? Understanding that's good context. How would a parent start to get a better understanding of what their child is either doing or the risks that they're potentially exposing themselves to?
So I think parents should actually understand the types of devices that children have and the content and the apps that children are engaging on those devices. And those devices are uniform in terms of all devices effectively have a screen. They all have access to apps and content, and they all are Wi-Fi enabled. And so that device could be your gaming laptop. It could be the EdTech provided iPad that schools would provide. It could be a smartphone. It could be the PlayStation. It could be Xbox. All of these devices, it can even be your smart TV if they've got smart TVs that are applicable to children itself. So all of these devices have a common or have a similarity, which is basically that they are all connected to the internet. And so parents really need to understand what are the content that is being attributed to a child through those devices. What type of content are they seeing? Are they on YouTube? What type of videos are they seeing? Are they on Google? Are they searching for websites? Are they on social media? Are they on gaming platforms? And what types of gaming platforms are they on? And what type of interactions can they have with potential strangers in any of those types of environments? Is there environment that is created for them? Is it an open environment or is it a private environment? I.e., do they interact with just their people that they know, or are there messages and is the context of what they're doing open that exposes themselves to wider harms that they may not know about?
Mm-hmm. I read somewhere, I don't know if you know the research and what sorts of things are, yeah, the sorts of things might be more problematic. Like I read somewhere for teenage girls, probably picture-based sort of social media, Instagram, those types of things. And for boys, it's the multiplayer online games where they do play with other people from around the world. I don't know what your take on all of that is, what you know.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been research across the world, and so for example, in the last 5 years, the number of grooming cases that has occurred over the last 5 years has risen by 82%. And one application by itself, which is Snapchat, which has, say, for example, parents may not be aware, but it has disappearing messages, accounts for 26% of those 82% rise in grooming cases over the last 5 years. And so from an application-based perspective, yes, some children who are on Snapchat, and it doesn't make a difference if it's boys or girls, they are being groomed via an application as much as other applications. So for example, you're absolutely right in terms of children who are gaming. 1 in 3 children interact with strangers during gaming platforms, and so these types of numbers are really overwhelming, that 1 in 3 children are interacting with strangers on online gaming, and there's an 82% rise in grooming, for example. And so this is really shocking for parents if they're unaware of the challenges. And some of these apps are unsafe and have age ratings, yet most parents are oblivious to the age rating requirements of certain apps, and they give their children certain apps. So, for example, lots of parents and lots of families have WhatsApp groups, and WhatsApp groups are common now. Here in the UK, WhatsApp age limit or minimum age requirement is 13. Yet many children have smartphones from early ages of 7, 8, 9, and 10. And parents think that to keep the child safe, they have to have these communications like what you mentioned, Caroline. Kids are out in the park, but actually the park is probably a safer environment than their home. And so parents are interacting with children through WhatsApp and sometimes sharing information about their children, which is known as sharenting, for example, which is another problem. But that interaction, maybe it's okay from a family group perspective, but then a child thinks that WhatsApp for them is quite a safe environment, and they then interact with other peer groups or other people that they may not know about in terms of groups and other people. And so WhatsApp then becomes a norm for them, and that then leads to a dangerous capability that parents or children are interacting potentially with strangers via WhatsApp, and parents have no idea.
It's wild.
That's really wild.
I didn't even think of, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like I'm just so focused on some other things. I think we dodged a bullet with our kids,
Yeah.
like avoiding.
We're not really into that, but still, it's still out there.
So what a parent, I mean, we've taken the complete abstinence route, which I know is probably like our children do not have any social media accounts. They have WhatsApp, like we are their contacts for when we're
Mhm.
traveling. That's the only time. Actually, my disables
Yeah.
it when she's home. So I don't know, like where do we take it away? Do we implement parental controls? Do we just hope for the best? Like what is it? What
Yeah,
would you
so
tell
I
parents?
think there's a challenge for parents is that now more and more schools, and I'm not sure about the schools in Calgary in Canada, but schools across Europe, schools in the UK, they're actively, since COVID, they're actively pushing education tech to children. And so children are being asked to becoming more education aware, and homework is on these laptops and on these iPads. And so those devices are easily accessible for children. And again, parents may assume that a child who has an iPad at home is safe. They're in their bedroom, they're doing their homework, etc. But that's often not the case, and children can access apps, and lots of children actually are so savvy that they'll use things like VPN, virtual private networks, or they'll create hidden apps which parents are unaware of, which from the face of it it's not seen as an app, and it's in the background. And so those are the challenges that parents are totally oblivious to. And it's like that Netflix drama Adolescence, which became this
Mhm.
worldwide hit. And it's like after the crime is committed, the parents then realize or have a self realization of actually where did we go wrong and what led to this environment. And they're totally benign to the situation that the child was having into incel culture or interactions or some kind of misogyny thoughts and processes that was sometimes out of peer pressure, sometimes algorithms are pushing content. And so these types of interactions are really a worrying attribute for parents. And so yes, you can have an absence, but abstinence only works if they don't have access to any devices. And if schools are promoting access to devices and capabilities, then that's where a parent really needs to have some kind of filters or some kind of parental controls so that they're protected at home. Because again, when a school provides an ed tech device, they're providing the edtech device for them to be primarily learning in the school environment. And schools typically have content filters to protect any child in the school Wi-Fi environment from that. But the biggest challenge is when the child takes that device home. And if the parent doesn't have the same level of content filters or parental controls, then that becomes the wild, wild west for a child to access anything they want to. And again, parents think that it's harmless. They're on their school laptop or the school iPad, and they're in their bedroom and they're safe online.
And kids are savvy. I've heard so many wild stories of things that kids have figured out how to do and block parents out from knowing what they're doing. And yeah, it's unbelievable. So where would parents get started? What should they be doing at home then?
Yeah, so I think the first thing, as I mentioned, is really to have the conversation with your child. Parenting is about having the communication. Look, I've got 5 children, and since my children were born, we thought about, okay, how do we safeguard our children? We buy helmets for their, tricycles and their bikes and the knee pads, etc. We put them in baby seats, and we look at the prams, and we look at the boosters, and we look at everything. And then, when they're at home, we put those protective elements on tables, or we put those inserts into plug sockets, etc. So we do everything as parents to try and protect our children. And so I think as the children grow older and they're interacting with the technology, have the conversation with your children every day that come from school, understand what they're doing on the online side. What applications are their children or their friends having? What type of games are they engaging with? And how to adopt some kind of filters that prevent access so that a child has a safe environment. So, for example, if a child is playing Roblox, for example, which is a massive game all around the world, if a parent sees Roblox, they think, okay, fine, it's kind of innocent game. It's like a Lego Minecraft type of game. How dangerous can it be? But on Roblox, because children are unsupervised, it's one of the number one platforms for grooming and pedophile behavior from older predators who are targeting children. And so parents are unaware that in these games there are chats and varied types of instances where people will be lured into an environment that is inappropriate for a child because it's got inappropriate content even within the confines of a game. And so that's where a parent needs to, one, have a conversation with their child, and two, put down some parental controls on the different applications and the different devices and the different content that the child is accessing.
And is that where Parent Line comes in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, Parent Line is, you know, it's a free resource that we've created really to guide parents. So we have something in the UK called Childline, which is like a free phone number, 0800 1111. And it's really a helpline for any child to call at any time of the day, 24/7, to ascertain any support that a child may feel in danger, either at home or at school or whatever the issue is. And so we created Parentline with the same ethos to create a platform that parents can call in or chat in multiple languages. It's a safe space, and parents can ask any question in regards to any online safety issue that they have, whether they're in Calgary or Montreal or London or Shanghai or Delhi or Cape Town, wherever they are in the world, they can ask any question in regards to any online safety issue. And it's designed based upon ethical AI. So it provides a source information that is built on a trust layer of, of global sites that are designed for online safety. And it provides a conversational based requirement. So a parent who is kind of busy with their daily chores and wants to understand, okay, how do I block TikTok for my child on my child's iPhone? Or how do I enable Roblox? And I'm, say, with TELUS in Canada, for example. So you can ask it any question and it will give you the guidance there and then. So it's like a conversational AI so that parents don't have to go and troll through multiple websites and multiple, scenarios where they have to go and try and find how to mitigate those issues. Is a very simple conversational AI tool that we created.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's free.
Nice.
That's
Even better.
Cool. Yeah.
Even better.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I know some parents, I find there's one or the other. There's some parents who lock down everything, need to see everything. Other parents who are avoiding some of those parental controls, like my kids need to figure it out, right? So I guess maybe for those parents who are avoiding using parental controls, why do they? And how would they get started?
So I think the biggest challenge is that parental controls applies to every single application. And so, for example, if your child has multiple devices in the home, then they're going to need parental controls per device essentially. And parental controls are on every application. So think of it. A child has a laptop. A laptop might have parental controls from, say, Windows, for example. A child might have an iPad. Apple family have their own parental controls. They might have a Samsung smartphone. Samsung have their own parental controls. So those are free parental controls that a parent needs to learn. And they have to become effectively a rocket scientist in parental controls in order to learn those three. And then on top of that, a child might be using Roblox. Roblox have their own parental controls. YouTube have their own. Google has their own. Snapchat has their own, Instagram has their own. And so that becomes a big, big problem for parents. And so what we as the broadband industry, and going back to our roots as Gigabit IQ, we are internet service providers. So we are the gateway to provide the internet access. So a a child, a parent, or anybody anywhere around the world will access the internet two ways. Either they'll access the internet through their internet service provider, or they'll access the internet through their mobile or cellular provider. Okay. And so cellular providers have parental controls built into their cellular mobile service. And the biggest challenge that we see in our industry, and something that we are raising to our government and to our regulator, which is Ofcom, which is to say that in the UK, for example, there are 30 million broadband lines, like 30 million homes. And I would say probably around about 5 to 10% have parental controls, or service providers have parental controls. So 90% don't have parental controls. And if we, as a network provider, don't provide parental controls, that's where the apathy for parents is created, because they then have to learn every application, every device, versus a parental control that is network based, like ourselves, and we can provide, say, a master remote control for the whole home. So anything connected to our Wi-Fi, we provide a singular parental control, and then you can block any device or any application from that master control. So think of it as a master remote control in the home, like you used to have, that used to connect your VCR, your DVD player, your TV, and anything else that you wanted to control through one single platform. Similarly, ISPs, or internet service providers, have the ability to provide a master remote based parental control that any device connected over Wi-Fi and any application can be controlled from a single source.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I would need that.
Well, and it's a good call out too, right? Like you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about the fact that it's a parent's problem to figure it all out. Like you're talking about people that probably, oh, we're getting an echo, aren't necessarily that tech savvy themselves. So you're putting them in a position where they don't know what they need to look for, and then you overwhelm them with everything that they need, and they don't really know how to filter it. Having that obstacle removed, right, to make it that it is that simplification, I think would go a long way.
I'm just thinking of my parents' house. They have Alexa for everything. They're like, hey, Alexa, turn on this bathroom light.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. Hey, Alexa, put on
Yeah.
parental controls.
Yeah. Keep my kids safe online.
I mean, so the thing is, like, even Alexa, for example, I mean, that's the precursor to today's AI chatbots. And Alexa still has a governance structure to, not to say harmful things. But nowadays, new AI chatbots, for example, they can say what they like. And there's so many cases now whereby it's leading to teen suicide, or it's leading to self-harm, or it's leading to some kind of violence, or it's leading to some kind of case, because the applications that are developing now, they're coming out to market. Everybody can create an AI bot now. It's quite easy to create. They're not monitored. They haven't been type tested. They're not safety filtered. And so even I think a few weeks ago, there was a teddy bear that was created with an AI bot built in, which I find crazy, because the age of innocence of a child to have a teddy bear and have some kind of imaginative learning and imaginative play by having a teddy bear is kind of different to actually then warping that and putting an AI chatbot that is going to interact with a toddler. Why would you do that? And why, as a parent, would you want to buy a toy like that? Is beyond me. But obviously, people bought these teddy bears, and so those are kind of the challenges that now that an AI chatbot, which is post Alexa, post Siri, nowadays is causing even more harm, because there's no quality control or type control because the market has just exploded and is so prevalent with apps and new applications and bots, etc., that there's no way to keep up. And so that's why parents really have a struggle. And that's where the apathy sort of like kicks in, because they sort of like give up. And so
Yeah.
that's a challenge we have. That's a challenge I have as a tech provider. you know I have to try and push the limits of what I can do and create applications like Parentline, just to try and provide some kind of education that a parent can easily access, and then on top of that provide parental control that at least our subscribers or anyone actually can take our service from a router perspective. So you could take it, for example, in Calgary. I could send you our router. You'll have access to our GigabitIQ app, which has Family Guard on it, and you can protect your home with that, whether you're on our network or somebody else's network. So it's a valuable case. So those are the challenges, and our aim with Gigabit IQ and Parentline is really just to give a fighting chance for parents to have some kind of semblance of understanding of what they need to do to protect their kids.
Yeah, because there's so much. It's overwhelming. And then, yeah, it's kind of scary. So, with all this to say, if parents could change one thing about their child's digital environment, even today, this week, what would that be? One thing.
Oh,
Sign
I
up for
think the
Parentline.
first thing is really just to have the conversation,
Yeah.
understand what your children are doing before you go ahead and try and implement controls, which can cause anxiety, can cause distrust, and can cause challenges between children and parents. Have the conversation with the children to understand what they're doing online. And most often, children will say to their parents, I feel unsafe online. I've had an engagement with a stranger that made me feel unsafe. And then through that interaction, the parent can then start to navigate around how to protect the children, utilizing resources, parent line, whatever they may have to hand, to try and mitigate those dangers that a child themselves has expressed to the parent of online situations that they faced.
Okay.
Great summary.
Yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. There's so much to think about. I know we just scratched the surface, certainly. Do you have any last minute questions?
No, I think you covered a lot of ground. I think, yeah, it's just where can people reach out to find out more information about what you and Gigabit are doing?
Yeah, so they can come to our website, gigabitiq.com, or they could go to Parentline, parentline.ai. It's a free to use tool. Anybody can use it around the world. It's free access, and it's multi-language. So if you want to speak to it in French or Mandarin or Korean or Swahili or Hindi or Gujarati, they could talk to it in any language as well as English as well.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate that. Thank you.
It was great.